Cek. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all safe and sound today. In a few minutes, we will begin our conference for second day. Once again, I would like to inform you that our agenda today will begin in a few minutes, so please be prepared. Participants in today's event, I would like to remind you to open your camera. Because in a few minutes, we will begin our agenda today. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We meet again. My name is Jordan, and on the behalf of the Faculty of Science and Technology Universitas Erlangga, we would like to welcome all of you to the second day of the first International Conference of Science and Technology toward New Normal Era 2020. Without further ado, moving right along to the core of today's event, it is my pleasure to introduce our moderator today, Mr. R. Cesario Edo Yunata, PhD. Dr. Edo Yunata is a lecturer at the Department of Physics, Faculty of Science and Technology, Universitas Erlangga. Dr. Yunata finished his bachelor and master program at the Universitas Brawijaya, Indonesia, and he finished his PhD program at the Shibaura Institute of Technology, Japan. Dr. Yunata interests on plasma technology, material science, surface activation, and plasma diagnosis. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Ercisario Edo Yunata.
So, hello everybody. Good morning. So, the Honorable Dean and all of the staff, Faculty of Science, Erlangga University, the Honorable Chairman and the Committee of Icostone 2020, the Honorable of three speakers for this morning, and the Honorable all of the participants and all of the guests in this morning. So, good morning everyone. Welcome back to Icostone 2020 in the second day. I hope you are fully charged after you take a rest last night because yesterday we have a tight schedule. So I hope you fresh and you can follow our schedule in the second day. So before I announce some announcement in this morning, I would like to inform to you that this morning we will have three speakers. First is Mr. Aris Winarno, and then followed by Professor uh, Syukur Sanin Muhammad Fauzi, and the last speaker will be Professor Dr. Muhammad Sueb. Okay, before we start our presentation today, so I will uh, inform to you again that during the talk or from the speaker, if you have a question, you can write in the forum chat or you can push the right hand in the Zoom so we can uh, write or collect your question. And after the presentation, we will inform to the speaker. Okay, thank you. And now uh, we will start our first speaker. The first speaker will be Mr. Aris Winarno. Okay, so I will talk to you about the biography of Mr. Aris Winarno. Okay, so Mr. Aris Winarno uh, has graduated from Airlangga University in the 1989, and he has graduated from Physics Department of Airlangga University. So for all the students in this morning are joining this conference, you are very lucky because you're senior here. You can learn many things to be success like him. So don't forget to focus and get some advantage for his talk. Okay, Mr. Aris Winarno, time is yours.
Yeah, okay. So good morning, everybody. Again, I'm glad to be here this morning. It's my honor to meet all of you in this very good agenda. So it reminds me 25 or 30 years back, let's say in the past when I was in the campus. And so basically, being a university student actually is a really golden age because that's a time for us to prepare ourselves actually is to pave our career in the future. So so again, it's to be glad to be here, and we would like to spend kind of 1 hour with all of you to share with you and to discuss with you on things that might interest you on how to build a career, let's say, as soon as all of you graduated from the university. If you would please share the presentation, please. Or should I present my own presentations? Okay, let me. Okay, so I will basically, I would like to discuss on how we build a career and on building the career. Actually, there are several aspects that influence, let's say, the career itself. And in this chapter, I would like to discuss on how several competencies, especially functional and business competencies, help us in building, let's say, our career. Why the functional and business? And we will find the answers later on as we go, let's say, along the presentations. So the first part actually is about the job itself. So as you are graduated, and basically many jobs actually await you there. So as of now, basically the job has been segmented into several industries. In many cases, the consumer good is very famous. Manufacturing is very famous. However, still we have to say much more than just consumer good and manufacturing. Some people would like to work on educational. Some people would like to work on media, especially now in the internet world, the social media, even actually, let's say, offering, let's say, some attractive jobs. I have several colleagues that is now, let's say, working on social media for their earning, not for a hobby or for social activities. So it is there. So those kind of jobs actually are available, let's say, once, let's say, you are graduated. But actually, it depends on how we are ready, let's say, to really be employed. And make us ready, then actually, when we are now, let's say, as became a student, actually, it is, let's say, really the best time for all of you, let's say, to prepare yourself so that whenever you are graduated, you will be ready, let's say, to be employed and win the job market employment. Coming to this year, actually, we've been around 9 months or almost 1 year actually, in the pandemic situations. And I think, let's say, the whole world are affected. So every country has a different level of, let's say, the affections, start from light, mild, up to, let's say, those who have, let's say, really severe impact, like several countries, US, Italy, things like that. Indonesia also, let's say, also is impacted. I still remember in 2019, actually, we were discussing about economic growth of 5%. That was before the crisis impacted by COVID-19 actually came. But as we go into 2020, the COVID actually came. The economic growth actually start to be affected starting in Q2. And it continues in Q3. In Q4, actually, the situation are expected to be better. But I think all of predictions still says that Q4 this year, the economic still degrowth. So it means that in 3 quarters in a row, actually, the economic Indonesia actually will be degrowth. And with 3 quarters in a row, we define that we come into recessions. But that's not end of everything. And there are some new good things actually coming in. I think the antiviral actually is still being developed. And the first formal release expected actually to come in the course of Q4. And and much more also, let's say, coming into 2021. And as, let's say, the COVID-19 actually, hopefully, let's say, will be more better under control. We are expecting the economic, let's say, activities coming back. And in 2021, we are expecting again coming back into positive growth. And then when we go into positive growth means that we're expecting, let's say, some new job will be created, and that's, let's say, the job that will be taken by those who are ready, including, let's say, all of you, let's say, who will be ready later on when you are graduated. Talking about the job itself, when we are graduated, I received many questions from the people when I'm graduated from university, what job is available outside. And basically, to be frank with you, actually, companies, most of companies actually are recruiting people from many layers, start to those who are really professionals, like managers, directors, specialists, or those who are really, let's say, a fresh graduate, like all of you later on. And and that's part of strategy of the company. As a company, most of company actually focusing hiring the fresh graduate as one of the their strategy to really strengthen the succession pipelines. And just to show you an example in this screen, basically, I make this a four segment of example of job which is available in most of consumer good companies or manufacturing that is available for the fresh graduate. For the sales, for instance, there are many sales representatives available that can be filled in by fresh graduate. Also, some B2B company, they do not call it sales representative, they call it sales supervisor, basically just to distinguish between consumer and professional. In sales activities, we need an analyst who analyze the market opportunities, the competitiveness landscape, the price gap between ourselves with our competitions, and we need a person who are really hands-on on statistics, for instance. And I think those who are ready with that, they can fill in that position. In marketing, also there are some positions like marketing communications. Imagine that the company actually needs to also market their product, and they need to put some advertising. We need to do some activities, activation in the market, and the marcom or marketing communication actually is also positions that can be filled in by fresh graduate. Product, of course, we are those who are selling product actually needs a person to manage the product. Companies depend on the type of companies itself, might have start from kind of 20 to 1,000 of product. In my company, we are selling, let's say, more than 2,000, 3,000 of different items, and definitely we need, let's say, really a capable person to manage the product itself. Again, we need also marketing analysts. Quickly to supply chain, basically supply chain has a main task to make sure that actually the customer demand actually is served well. We need to have, let's say, a good sourcing to make sure that we have, let's say, a good stock to be supplied. We need to have a good logistics management, good warehousing, good transportations. Not to mention Indonesia, we are consist of 17,000 islands. Managing distribution towards those islands actually is really a challenging part. In manufacturing, we have production, we have engineering people who make sure that the factories are running well. And also, of course, we need to make sure we have a good product. And for that reason, basically, quality actually is required, whether it is about the quality of product itself, or we are talking about the quality as part of, let's say, the quality management practice. So those are just elaboration on what jobs which are available, let's say, outside. And I only, let's say, mentioned the four functions. And as if we refer back to previous pages where the job actually are segmented into many industries, So I believe that many jobs are available in each of those industries for fresh graduates. Um, Now, I'm moving to the next step. Actually, is for us to be ready to be hired. What are the things that we need to have? So I would like to talk about three key things. So basically, company seek for those who have three competencies. First, actually, is the technical competencies. Basically, know-how things, basic things, technical things that one should have in order for that person to be able to accomplish the task. And basically, when I talk about the fresh graduate, most of fresh graduate basically are fulfilling this technical because I think those are the hardcore things that you learn in the universities. And if ever we have the gap usually is not huge. It's something that we can cater in very short time. However, we have two other competencies that is required, and that's also the same important as technical competencies, which is functional competencies and business competencies. Let me quickly come to the explanation what is functional competencies means. So functional competencies actually is kind of behavior aspect that is needed for a person to be able to perform the task in a company itself. Let me give you example, for instance, your presentation skill, your negotiation skill, the problem solving, for instance. Those are things that might not be taught when you are in informal class, but that's really needed in accomplishing the task itself. The business competencies actually is it is really required. Uh, the basic things actually is the basic understanding on how business works, how actually we are care about, let's say, other functions role, because I will go later on in a bit more detail on that. And uh, based on my experience in assessing the peoples, especially the fresh graduate, I find out that on those two parts, actually, the gap actually somewhat actually is quite considerable. So it means that the company actually needs to select those who have the smaller gap in each of the competencies. In most cases, basically, functional competencies and business competencies. And once we hire people, then we will, let's say, train them and with our development program, we close, let's say, each of competencies, including the functional and business competencies. But so in this case, actually, if you prepare yourself that you have some sort of preparation on those two competencies, that's a good things that you prepare and to make you ready, let's say, to be hired later on. Just to give you example, these are two surveys that made by the first one actually was made by a group of human capital or human resource, and they identify there are 10 soft skill which is required for the people in the current world. The QS word, which is to say quite famous in the campus, actually identifying based on the feedback of the respondent, five key competencies that is needed in current work for the employees to be able to perform well. And if you look at, let's say, each of them, none of them are technical competencies. Just to say problem solving, teamwork, communication, adaptability. Later on, I will discuss about the adaptability or agility and interpersonal skill. So those are the competencies which we in the company thinks is very important for a person to be able to be success. I will continue my presentation in two steps. First, I will give you a bit of elaboration actually how each of let's say, that competencies affect let's say us in in delivering let's say our task. And second, actually, I would like also to discuss on the idea on how you as a student can develop while you are still in the campus. Uh, so first, I would like to talk about CV. When we graduate and we have, let's say, a good academic record, that's very important and it's good. But please remember that academic record actually is not everything, as I said. So, and you need to have, let's say, more than that, and many more activities outside of, let's say, the formal classroom will really help you to shape up, let's say, your CVs. Uh, First thing actually is about the problem solving. So just to give you elaborations, company actually is kind of say a big ship, and that big ship have to say many people that is doing many different roles, and every roles actually are impacting each another. So in order to have that boat actually is sailing well, so everybody are given with a target. For instance, the sales definitely will have the sales target. Marketing, they have the target of, for instance, the market share. Supply chain have a target of timeliness supply. R&D have a target of the product launch time frame, things like that. And so every people have to achieve the target. It's not something that come into automatic. It is not ideal work, and the problem often occur whenever actually in order to achieve the target. For instance, in supply chain, now we are coming into global era where, where supply actually is made from by other countries. Like for instance, many companies are importing from either China, from South America, from Europe, and it takes us several weeks say, for the product to arrive in the countries. And something might happen in the process. It might be a typhoon when the vessel is sailing. There is a strike or demonstration in certain countries, so that the product actually is coming in delay. That's problem in supply chain. The problem in sales, for instance, actually the competition actually is doing activities so that it shifts the demand from our brand to other brand. So those problem actually happens, and as you go later on to the job, you will see yourself. But the companies actually needs a person who really eager to really achieve the target despite, let's say, the problem that they have. So in this case, we need kind of problem-solving techniques. One basic thing actually is the mentality. A good person to have a winning mentality will not give up despite the problem that they have. They will take any effort that they can do in order to maintain the achievement of the target itself. So the problem solving and the good mentality of winning things actually is something that we need in this case. I come to a second thing, which is about the teamwork and the leadership. So as I said earlier, actually the company is just like a boat with many people. So and the company can perform if everybody are performing according to what we need. So what we deliver will impact others. So that's we need to understand to really make sure that we are delivering, let's say, our task, because if we don't deliver, then others will be impacted. That's one. And second, actually, in many cases, actually, once you go along to your career, then you will have a big responsibility. Start from your individual players, you will become, let's say, team players. You will have team of 2, 3, 5 people, depend on the complexity and also the scale of the job. And initially, before you have the team, then you need to just lead yourself. But as you have a team, then you need to make sure that you have, let's say, a good leadership on your department or on your divisions to make sure that the department or division as a function are delivering also the target as required. So in this case, the team capabilities, team player capabilities, as well as the leadership capabilities, it is something which is required to be success in the job. Number three, communications. There are several type of communications. Can be verbal, and mostly actually it's written, especially in the big companies. I think everybody has the emails, and as we are working, let's say, into department divisions, all of let's say the department and division are having let's say a key performance indicators. I might say like that, other word of the target, and that key performance indicators or KPI is being reviewed every day, every week, every month, every quarter, depend on the period. And basically KPI itself actually is synchronized from individual into department, into division, into company. And to be able to synchronize that KPIs, we need also the communication, I mean, information communication. On the verbal communication, basically language actually is important. And now we are coming into global era. So, and we are using English. So please make sure that actually we are improving our English. That will be also differentiating factor whenever you come into the job. There is one point in the job that you might need to communicate unpleasant things. You communicate the problems. Whenever we have problems, and then we don't want, or we want to solve that problems, we need a person to discuss, or we need to inform our superior, because if it is not, let's say, communicated, the superior doesn't know that there is a problem, and as an impact, the problem can be bigger. But communicating problem actually is not easy. So basically, it requires beyond verbal communication capability. It requires courage to communicate the problem. So this is also the important in the business. The company actually is not static in the way of working. The company steadily changes, and the element in the company also change. Remember that, just to give you my direct example, when I start to do my job in my early career, actually, the computer world actually it is not like now. Actually, computer actually is kind of a luxury. Those who work and having computer at the end of 80s, actually, usually those who are, let's say, doing this, let's say, quite important role. And I'm lucky that actually I'm part of that. But now actually a computer actually is a must. That everybody actually having a computer with the internet connection, with sophisticated system that manages the workflow between one person to another person. So things are moving. In communication as well, cellular communication start to evolve in the mid of 90s. And before that, actually we are communicating through landline. And whenever, let's say, we want to communicate, not everybody having a telephone on the desk. But nowadays, actually, everybody having, let's say, even the cell phone. So those are the things that are changing, and the company also changing along with the changes of the phases itself. And this is not a choice. If the company doesn't change, then there is a risk that someday the company actually is irrelevant. I give you one example on the place which I work again. I'm working in lighting industry for about almost 30 years. And in lighting industry, we know three shifts of the technology. The first actually is the incandescent technology. We have the light bulb, and that was founded, let's say, more than 125 years ago. And around 40, 50 years ago, actually, the fluorescent technology was found. And then, let's say, we know that the tube lamps. and many other variants like, let's say, energy-saving lamps. We are coming into compact fluorescent lamps. And only by, I think, end of 29, or sorry, 2010, so 2010 actually, the third generation of lighting actually was introduced, which is, let's say, LED. So when I was studied in my university, somewhere in 96, 97, we did have a light discussion about the future of lighting, and my teacher told me that one day LED might become the source of light for general lighting, and all of us laughed actually, because at our time actually LED actually we use only for signals, for instrument, things like that. But nowadays, 25 years later, it came into reality. And that's happened in all other industries. So what is the reason I'm saying like that? If the company changes, the product that we sell changes, then the way we sell should change, and the way we work should change. So it means that we need to be ready for continuous changes. So those who are success actually are those who can co-op along with the change, or even they can be a leader of the change itself. Um, Several points. There is no ideal job. We might like a certain part of the job, but there are other parts of the job that we don't like, and we have to accept, let's say, what we like and what we don't like, as the same package. Even when we do not move the position, we do the job in certain position. The way we have to do the task in that job actually is changing. Like for instance, I gave you example on in part of supply chain that was my previous responsibilities in the organization. On the ordering part, in the past we received the order through fax, and then it changed through email, and then it changed through online. So nowadays we don't have any paper. We don't receive the emails, and the order will come automatically into our systems. It comes, there is electronic communication between our customer ERP into company ERP. Then our company ERP will trigger the process and to trigger the demand for the goods, and then send the demand to the factories. So actually the automated things actually has been working unlike in the past. So that's what happened in the same job. Not to mention that, of course, everybody need to have, let's say, the career move from one position to another positions. And as an impact of moving your positions, then basically the job responsibilities and the way of working, of course, will change. So we need to be agile in anticipating the change, and to be the best actually is to be prepared and to lead the change itself. I'm talking about one aspect of the job itself, actually, as leaders. Remember that in a company, we have individual layers, we have managers, we have senior managers, we have director, we have CEOs. And those positions of leaders actually ideally, actually, we got it, let's say, from internal. And for us who works in a company to be chosen as those leaders, then we need to be ready. I give you two hints. What is a typical leader that is chosen by a company? There are two things. First, actually, those who consistently outperform. Let's imagine if you're working in sales and you have a target of selling 100, and you fulfill selling 100. That is good. You fulfill, let's say, what company wants. But there are others who are not satisfied to just deliver 100. He wants to deliver 110. He wants to deliver 110 to 20, depend on the industry. In professional industry, even there is a possibility that you can double deliver. Despite of only delivering 100 of your target, you might deliver 200. And if those people actually are doing it consistently, that shows that he has different character than others, that he is hunger of performance. And other thing actually is that We need also a person who are hungry to grow, that are not satisfied only doing the task in his position, but he is eager, let's say, to do also higher responsibility. Hunger to grow doesn't mean that he always come and asking for a position, but he shows himself that I have bigger capability than what companies say, assign to me. And that can be shown, let's say, on the way he is looking, on the way he is delivering. So those are two key things that you need to remember, which is very important for everybody who wants to be the leaders in the organization. I do not say only commercial company, that works also in many other industries. Okay, this is second chapter on how do we as students prepare actually. So first, actually, the classroom lecture actually is very important. That's really bread and butter of things that you will obtain in the campus. But in case you need to have more, actually, there is also good things that you can do also to strengthen your technical competencies. I consider language as technical competencies, and I put English actually as is kind of must actually. So if you want to enhance your English, basically there are several ways, and this was coming from my own experience. When I watch the movie in the TV, usually I just say put the papers on the subtitles so that I need to force myself to understand the conversation on the TV itself. Reading articles, nowadays actually, there are amples of resource in the internet that you can do to really read the articles, and that also sharpen, let's say, your English as well. And as the campus also going global now, I think now there is, let's say, a much bigger chance to also use English as a language in interacting with other students from other universities, things like that. Specific competencies depend on your needs. It can be obtained also through courses if you need more enhancement, like, for instance, the computer courses. Other resource that can be obtained, seminar like this forum, exhibitions, forum discussion. That's also, let's say, a good thing also to sharpen, let's say, the technical competencies. So this is on technical competencies. I don't discuss much on that part, but the key actually depend on your need. You might sharpen your technical competencies outside of the classroom itself. Then I move into functional competencies, and this is the area that all of us or all of you needs to take care while you are still in the campus. I know that there are many activities in the campus that you can join, like, for instance, extracurricular activities. You might have, for instance, the sport activities. You might science activities and many other, let's say, a group in the campus that you might join. Don't underestimate the benefit, because there are many things that you can gain, let's say, from that. You will mingle with the people, you will have the agendas, and in itself, actually, indirectly, you are practicing your teamwork. You are exercising your communications. The team sometimes want to do things that you might not like, and basically it will test your adaptability. And campus events, again, actually, it's also, let's say, exercise your several part of, let's say, the functional competencies. CSR actually is something which is also common in campus, that develop, let's say, the empathy of the people. Empathy is really needed also in a job, especially when you are a leader. Apart from being assertive and to really stick on the target, but we need to have empathy so that, let's say, others actually that we understand, let's say, others' need beyond, let's say, the formal job itself. Talking about cultures, Student exchange also, let's say, one of the good example on how we learn, let's say, different cultures. As I said, in current era, actually, there is a very high chance those who are interested will be assigned to start from other cities, other provinces, or other countries or other continents. And it's quite common. When I start my job, actually, it is very rare that Indonesian actually is being assigned outside of Indonesia. But nowadays, actually, it is common that for those who have a capacity to be assigned, let's say, in our regional office or in our headquarters, supply centers, whether it is, let's say, on project basis or permanent basis. So, those kind of activities, don't forget, please take it because you will get the benefit. And coming back to CVs, put it in your CVs later on. That's really meaningful. The employer actually will really appreciate on what you do on this part. I do actually, whenever I recruit the people, I like to check also this part because to me, what matters when the fresh graduate comes, actually, again, not only the academic record, but actually on what he has learned apart from academic formal when he or she in the campus. Internship is very, very, very important. Internship actually is a good way for you to experience a real job, though actually it's on short term. Some internship might last for 3 months, some internship might last for 6 months. And usually when you do the internship, the company will give you a light target to help permanent employees to perform their tasks. For instance, you will become assistant of salesman, you will become assistant of demand planners, depend on the area that you will be assigned. And you will understand about how to see the company, let's say, working, how the people are getting their target, how the people actually are trying to achieve their target, what problem is there, the company dynamics. You will see the people having the meeting, you will be involved probably on the problem solving time. So those kind of experience you will get whenever you get the internship. I think it is really advisable for the campus to really empower the students to do the internship. Most of companies now accept the internship. I think if we have a good communication to the companies, they will open the doors for the students to do the internship. By the way, Indonesian companies like my companies also receiving many requests, including those who are outside of Indonesia. I receive the request from Europe, for instance. Imagine that the students from Europe flying to Indonesia to do the internship for 3 months to 6 months. And I think there is no other reason why they do that apart from accept that actually there must be the city importance. Okay. Competitions. In the work, we are competing in a good way in the career with the people, so that you can also train yourself on how to do a good competition, positive competition while we are in a campus. And there are many or several medias that you can do. I know that there is a Olympiad in the campus. There is, for instance, competition things that you actually are suggested to join, actually to sharpen, let's say, your competitions behavior in this case. I think those are the sharing that I would like to have. I think this is my last presentation. To summarize, actually is that there are 3 competencies that the employee needs to have to win, let's say, the talent market. One, actually, the bread and butter actually is technical competencies. But there are other tools competencies that we actually, as students, need to sharpen and need to enhance in order to win, let's say, the talent battle outside whenever we are graduated, which is functional competencies and business competencies. And to develop that, we do not need to wait until we are graduated and have the company develop for us, but we need to develop now. And there are in campus many medias that we as students actually can do in order to enhance each of the functional competencies. So my message actually is that you are in the golden time as being a university students. Use it as well as possible and complete your competencies and make yourself ready whenever you are graduated. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Aris Winarno, for your
You're
wonderful talk. So it's still warm, and we open for the discussion. So one of you, if you have some question or something need to discuss about this topic, you can ask directly or you can write. Thank you. Okay. So maybe I will open for the discussion. So you are working and has a long experience in the industrial, and you are working in the lightning company. So after there is a Nobel Prize are given in the blue LED, so what is the most issue or what happened to the lightning company now, or maybe in your company or maybe in Indonesia? Thank you.
okay. Thank you very much. Yes, I think it is many discussion talking about the blue LED itself. If I understand correctly, when we are talking about the blue LED, there's a pros and cons on the implementation. Basically, some people think that actually there is a danger of having the LED because there is a blue ray that might badly impact, let's say, the people's eye or people's sight. And we need the technology and things that distinguish one company to another. Actually, that's the capability to deliver the safe technology to the people. So when you buy, let's say, the bulb in the market, actually, uh, the appearance looks the same physically, but the function might differ. So our company actually has developed, let's say, LED technology that is safe for the eye, and it is not easy thing. So that's why I mean the Philips lighting in the past and now call it Signify. Our brand actually is still Philips. Actually, is known as, let's say, a reputable company in terms of quality. And every product that we launch to the market must pass actually a certain very specific target in terms of people's safety. We are the leader of in creating the quality standards. We are very close into IEC standard. If you have a focus on the quality, and you must be, let's say, familiar with the IEC and many lighting standards that has been created by IEC actually have a big contribution from our company. So yes, you are right. LED with a good care and a good technology can be a safe technology. But actually, if we do not take care of, let's say, the impact, then it might harm if the application is not done rightfully. Hopefully, that answers the question.
Okay, thank you for your answer. So, anyone want to ask or discuss about this topic? Maybe student, maybe you want to get some advice to be professional like Mr. Aris Winarno. Okay, don't be shy.
You may raise any questions. Don't be shy.
Yes, you're right, Mr. Aris. Please talk to your junior.
Okay. While waiting for the questions, maybe I would like to share some of my experience. some people actually ask me actually. So when I graduate from physics, actually, I never work in physics basically. So my first job actually as a logistics officer, and then since then I work in supply chain area as well as in IT in business strategy and never in physics. And they asked me, let's say, what is the hint so that we can be success in doing the role that has nothing to do with our background. So one thing I would like to say to you actually, there is one important thing that you are actually learning now in the university actually is learn on how to understand. So we call it learning capability. If you have a good learning capability, basically you can learn many things, including the area that you are not master. So and that will help you whenever you are being posted or you are being offered in the area that you are not master on that. When I moved to this company, so I start my career in Japanese company, in glass company, and then I moved to Philips. Actually, I was offered for a demand planning role, and my task actually is to manage the demand planning for imported product. In the past, we had, let's say, a big factory in Surabaya, but that was not my job. So I need to plan and manage the supply from many factories, mostly at that moment actually was in Europe. And it is not only about statistics, but I need to know about international trading. I need to know about letter of credit. I need to know about custom, things like that. And actually, there was a funny story actually. So they called me and I came to Jakarta and we had a dialogue. And I said, I don't have that experience. But if you would like to allow me to learn for 1 month, and after 1 month, you allow me to come back and please test me. If I'm good, you might hire me, but if there is somebody else better than me, then you will hire somebody else. And the good company like Philips actually gave me a chance. And despite of not having experience on those demand planning and international trading, so I take 1 month to read the book, to talk to people, getting mentor, and then get tested. Then, alhamdulillah, fortunately, let's say I was chosen, let's say, among let's say the candidates. So just would like to show you actually that whenever you are eager in winning things, whenever you have capability in understanding new things, many things that are impossible becoming possible. So that's maybe something that hopefully can inspire some of you.
Thank you, Mr. Arif. Very inspired. So I think the time is come. So before we close this first session, we want to take a picture together. So please, all of you, turn on your camera. So we will take a picture for the first session. Okay, thank you. I check that more of you have turned on the camera. Okay, ready for the picture? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Aris Winarno, thank you for a nice talk and wonderful experience. I hope many people here inspired about your talk.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
so leave kiss applause to Mr. Aris Winarno. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Again, that's a great for me to say to meet all of you. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Bye bye.
Terima kasih Pak
Bye-bye.
Aris.
Thank you.
Mari saya pamit dulu.
Terima kasih Pak Aris.
Atur nuwun, Pak. Okay, so we move to the next session. So the second. Okay, so the second speaker will be Professor Sukorsani Muhammad Fauzi. I'm sorry if I wrong in spelling of the name. So I will inform to you about the biography of our second speaker. So Professor Sukor Sani Muhammad Fauzi is the Deputy Rector, Research and Industrial Linkage UITM Cawangan Perlis, and he get the Bachelor of Computer Science of University Technology Mara Malaysia, and then he get the Master from University Technology Malaysia, and the PhD in Software Engineering in the University of New South Wales National ICT Australia, or NICTA. Okay, please welcome Professor Sukor Sanim. Time is yours.
Hello.
Okay,
Hello.
we hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. All right. Let me share the slide first. Okay. So can you see the slide, Mr. Chairperson?
Yes, I can see well.
Okay. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good evening. No, good afternoon. Good morning. Maybe in Indonesia is the time right now is 10 o'clock in the morning, right? But in Malaysia is already 11 o'clock. So good morning to all of you. So I'm Syukur Sanim Muhammad Fauzi from University Technology Mara, Police Branch. So first of all, it is indeed a great pleasure for me to be invited to give a talk in the first International Conference of Science and Technology towards New Normal Era 2020, organized by Faculty of Science and Technology, Universitas Erlangga. I would like to thank the committee members of Icostone 2020 for inviting me to share some knowledge, which at the same time, I hope that the things that I'm going to share today will offer some innovative ideas and also experiences for the betterment of our institution and also our countries. So I would say that I'm proud to be part of today's international conference. So this is quite a brief background about myself. So basically, as you can see from my background, I'm purely UITM or University Technology Mora product. So I'm started my diploma in computer science and then pursue my study in information system engineering and receive a scholarship from UITM to advance my study in real-time software engineering. And then I hold a PhD in computer science and engineering, where I'm focusing on software engineering from the University of New South Wales, Australia, and in the working group of Data 61, which is previously known as National ICT Australia, but currently known as Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, CSIRO. So overall, I've published more than 120 papers, which include Scopus or WOS index publication. And basically, I run my majority of the research by running 18 research grants okay, nationally, and also majority is comes from national grant, and have won more than 50 medals in national and international exhibition, and also have involved in more than 120 technical committee and review activities in conferences, in and international conferences, and also in an international journals. So, since I have a chance to give a talk today, I would like to uh, introduce about a little bit about my university, about our university. So this is the University Technology Mara system is the largest university system in Malaysia. So through a statewide network of 4 satellite campuses, we also have 12 branch campuses, 9 city campuses, and also uh, 21 affiliated colleges. So the UITM system basically educates over 170,000 students all over Malaysia. So this is one of the branch in UITM system, so which is known as University Technology Mara, UITM Perlis branch, is one of the branch campus of UITM, which is basically we are located in Arau, Perlis, Malaysia. So Arau, Perlis is at the northern region of Malaysia, just nearby southern part of Thailand. So we were established in 1974 at Kangar, Perlis, where it makes it as the third oldest UITM campus in the world country. And in 1980, the campus basically has moved to the where we are currently located right now in Arau. And now we can say that UITM Perlis is the largest branch campus around the country by the number of students and also the total courses offered, where we basically offered almost more than 30 courses in UITM Arau. So here are the list of the faculties that we have in UITM Perlis. So we are analyzed into 2 different clusters, which includes social science clusters and also science and technology clusters, which includes faculty of accountancy, faculty of research and management, architecture, applied sciences, sports science and recreation, plantation, and also agrotechnology, and also computer and medical sciences. So a bit about my research group. So here are the members of our research group. Okay, our research group is known as Applied Computing and Technology Research Group. So you can visit our research group website via www.act-rg.com. Okay, this is the list of the group members that we have. We have Dr. Tajul, expertise in artificial intelligence. We have Dr. Nur Ain, expertise in GIS or Geographical Information System. Then we have Dr. Ruhaila Maskat in data science. And then we have Mr. Hafiz Ismail and also Mr. Ray Adeli JM Ginning, okay, expertise in software development, cloud computing, and also IoT. So basically, our niche area includes software engineering, artificial intelligence, IoT or Internet of Things, GIS, machine learning, big data, and also information retrieval. Here are the list of some of the research grants that we received by our group. And then here are the list of the PhD students that we have that we currently supervise by our group members in our research group. And also here are the list of the masters by research students that we have in our group. And then this is the list of the collaborators that we have. So basically we have quite a lot of collaboration, especially the new collaboration that we have is with University of Concepcion, Chile, and also University of Calcutta, India. And we are looking forward to have or to embark any other collaboration with other international universities all around the world. And it is just a summary of our achievement. So basically, we received around 1.5 million research grant, okay, to run our research group, and then and the rest is like, for example, 160 articles published by our research group, and etc. etc. Okay, here we go. This is the core of my presentation today. So I'm going to talk about one of the emerging topic in IT or information technology, which is known as big data. So I tried to make it more simplified, more simple in order to give an overview, and also I would like to give an also like to give about some of the opportunities that exist in big data field. So when we talk about opportunities, I'm going to talk about what are the what we call the job opportunities and also research opportunities that we have in big data. So the title of my presentation today, or my talk today, is Big Data for Dummies, okay, and a view and opportunities. So I think basically most of us have heard this buzzword, which is big data. So we can say that big data has become one of the emerging trend in every field. For instance, in information technology, in healthcare, dalam banking sector, dalam tourism or wisata, if I'm not mistaken, tourism in Indonesia is wisata, betul ke? And others. So my talk today is landed into two parts, where the first part I will briefly discuss about the overview of big data, where I will cover about, of course, the definition and so forth. And the next part is about the opportunities, okay, where I will briefly discuss about the profession that exists, okay, because of this emerging trend, and also the research opportunities in big data in several fields. All right, we talk about data. Data is like oil, okay? Oil in Indonesia, what is in Indonesia? Minyak, petrol, gasoline. Is it, Mr. Chairperson? Is it correct?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, gasoline. Okay, oil. So oil basically is the fuel for modern economy for what we call for centuries. So, however, we can say that oil in its raw form has very little value, right? So it needs to be refined, and also it needs to be separated into a large number of consumer products, from petrol and kerosene to asphalt, and also to chemical reagents were used to make plastic and pharmaceuticals, and it also used in, for example, in manufacturing a wide variety of materials. So big data is just like an oil, okay? Sama seperti minyak. In its raw form, it provides no value, okay? It provides no value to enterprise until it is processed, okay? Until it is processed and valuable and actionable business insight are distilled. Okay, just like the technology that made available 100 years ago to discover oil and process it to consumable products. So big data technology is going to transform and also revolutionize the way enterprise get and use. So what is big data? So big data, from my point of view, I can say that there is a different definition of big data. One side can suggest that big data as a new technology and tools to be used in manipulating the vast amount of data that we have nowadays. Another side refers big data as a volume of the data itself, right? So based on the McKinsey suggests that big data refers to the enormous amount of data set that we have, okay, where that kind of data is quite difficult to be captured, stored, and managed by using the current tools that we have. Okay, and then Walker, big data is a collection of data sets is so large and complex that it becomes difficult to process using on-hand database management tools. So this is another side definition of big data. So as we can see here, it says that the big data is hard to capture. Okay, it's hard to store, search, share, analyze, and also visualize. And majority companies pursue big data because it can be revelatory in spotting business trends, okay, improve research quality, and also gaining insight in a variety of fields. Okay, from IT field to medicine to law enforcement and everything in between and beyond. So we will now move on to the next section,
Please wait a moment. There is some a problem with the internet connection. I think we cannot hear Professor Shukor Sanim. So we will try to contact Professor Shukor Sanim again. I think there is some internet connection problem from him. So during this time until we get the reconnection from the Professor Shukor Sanim, maybe you have some question about the big data, so you can write your question in the room chat, so we can collect, because we will discuss our discussion after the third speaker. So please don't be shy to write your question or something that you want uh, to know about the big data. You can write in the room chat. Thank you. Okay. We have get some message from Mr. Ray that there is some network problem. So uh, please wait a moment until Professor Sukarsanim return to our meeting.
Hello.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah, sorry.
No
Sorry,
problem. Okay.
there's a technical issues. So sorry about that. So can I continue my talk?
Yes, no problem.
Okay, thank you. So basically, I think I stop. All right, here. All right, here, I think. So, right, let's continue. Sorry again for that. So we all have heard about the three V's of big data, which are volume, variety, and also velocity. So, but based on Inderpal Bandar, which is the chief data officer at Express Script, in his presentation in Big Data Innovation Summit in Boston, so that there are additional V's that IT business and also we data scientists need to be concerned with, most notably big data veracity. So that's mean nowadays when we talk about the V's in big data, so we have four V's of the big data. So here we have the volume, which basically implies the scale of the data itself. So how enormous or how big the data is, whether it is 1 terabyte, 10 terabyte, or maybe 1 exabyte. And then the variety basically refers to the sources of the data itself or the type of data. So basically, when we talk about the type of data, so we have structured, we have unstructured, and also the semi-structured data. And then the velocity here refers to the pace of which data flows in from sources like business processes, machines, network, and human interaction with things like social media sites, the mobile devices, and etc. So we can say that the flow of data is very massive, it's quite massive and continuous. So this real-time data, we can say the real-time data can help us, the business and also the researchers, to make valuable decisions that provide strategic or competitive advantage and ROI or return on investment if we are able to handle with the velocity of the data. And then the last V is veracity, which refers to the biases, which refers to the noise and also abnormality in data. So how big is the data that we have in the day? So how big data that we have in a day? So based on the literature, it suggests that we have about 2.5 quintillion of data generated every day. Okay, 2.5 quintillion of data that we generated in every day. So imagine, let's say, the data will rise. Okay, rice dalam Indonesia, dalam Malay, rice itu nasi lah. Okay, so can we imagine how much rice is needed to represent 2.5 quintillion of data? Okay, so a quintillion is about 10 times 18 or and equal to 1 exabyte. Right, let's say here, let's say 1 byte is equivalent to 1 grain of rice. Okay, one small pieces of rice. And then 1 kilobyte is equivalent to a cup of rice. And then 1 megabyte is equivalent to 8 bags of rice. And then 1 gigabyte is equivalent to 3 semi-trucks. And then 1 terabyte is equivalent to 2 container ships. And 1 petabyte is equivalent to a blanket of Manhattan in state of America. And then 1 exabyte is equivalent to blankets West Coast in United States of America. So if 1 exabyte is equivalent to 1 quintillion, so meaning that 2.5 quintillion is equivalent to 2.5 times of blankets West Coast of states of America. So this is how big of the data if we try to make it equivalent to the rice that we have. All right? Okay, here, lots of data. So we can say that the today's data basically comes from many sources. but the main source of data comes from the social media site. Okay, for instance, nowadays, when we update a status in Facebook, so that basically leads to the amount of data that we have in it today. And then, what other social media site? We have Instagram, Twitter, and etc. But a lot of data also is generated from the sensors. So for instance, the sensors is installed nowadays to track vehicle engine problem. Okay, sekarang ni kita install sensor dalam mobil, okay, untuk kenal pasti engine problems. And Google install sensors to street view car to map the air pollution. And then we also have a satellite data. Okay, it's another source of data. For instance, we can make use of satellite data, for example, to track the last location of the lost flight, for instance, MH378 cases. And then the business transaction also generate a large amount of data. For instance, credit card transaction basically generate around 10,000 transactions per second. So that can be used to track basically customers' preference, develop loyalty program, and others. So other than that, data also is generated from location-based data. Like for instance, when you do a check-in in Facebook or you send a location via WhatsApp. So basically that also lead to the large amount of data, leads to the generation of data that we have. E-commerce site, grocery stores, and retailers. So what can we say? So what we can say from this slide? So we can say that all of this data basically grows very fast. Okay, as we can see here on the right of the slide. Okay, every minute of the day, basically we generate a large amount of data. For example, in every single minute, more than 2 million content is updated via Facebook. 300,000 photos is shared by the users via WhatsApp and others, and etc. And I believe that with the emergence of tablet, okay, with the emergence of Internet of Things and smartphones, the data will keep growing extremely fast. So what we can say about this diagram? So we can say that we ourselves as a human is more like an Internet of Things device, since we basically is interconnected with everything. For instance, all of us here are here. Okay, Google via our phone can automatically detect our location, and it can use our current location to, for example, calculate time taken to the office. Okay, which Google basically can identify via our cell phone GPS or geotag, and Google at the same time can also suggest the nearest top restaurant to us, okay, taken from the user's review. So I would suggest that beware in updating anything via social media. Okay, as not only Google, because it's not only Google can trace our information, but the strangers also can easily make use of our information, okay, without knowing. Okay, these are the view of the current big data landscape. Okay, as the emergence of big data, so many services, software, application, and also infrastructure is currently being developed. So we move to the next section, which is why big data really matters to us, or really matters to the companies, or to the business, or to the organization. So this is because big data basically can create potential value for every field that we have in this world. For example, in healthcare, in manufacturing, in retail, and big data also can help to develop new information that can be used to make decision making. For example, as in healthcare, okay, based on these figures, based on this slide, it helped to increase around 0.7 productivity growth in manufacturing. It also helped to decrease product development costs in one of the manufacturing company. Right, this is another story about the how big data can create potential value. Right, this slide suggests one of the model of the smart city. So nowadays, many governments are considering adopting the smart city concept in their cities and implementing big data application that support smart city components to reach the required level of sustainability and also improve the living standard. So basically, smart cities can utilize multiple technologies to improve, for example, the performance of health, transportation, where we have energy, education, and water services, okay, which leading to higher level of comfort of their citizens. And then this involve reducing costs and also resource consumption, in addition to more effectively and actively engaging with their citizens. Okay, one of the recent technologies that has a huge potential to enhance smart city is big data analytics. So as digitalization, digitization has become an integral part of everyday life, data collection has resulted in the accumulation of huge amounts of data that can be used in various beneficial application domains. For instance, with big data, everything from individual street lights, okay, street lights, to energy use across individual power grids can be analyzed closely to increase efficiency of energy distribution, electrical distribution. Then, by employing big data in smart cities, it also could help greatly improve the public health, okay, kesihatan awam. Okay, for example, from identifying sensitive areas for spread of diseases, okay, and implementing preventive measures to smarter medical record, keeping to quicker diagnosis, and also better overall patient care. And in terms of other area, big data also in smart city could allow for a comprehensive socio-political study of crime in focus area, for example, where a preventive model could be implemented to predict future patterns of crime. Okay, here is one of the close example of the success story of the use of big data. This is quite long time story. Mungkin cerita ini agak lama. This because it happened in 2014, 6 years ago. Okay, where what actually happened in 2014? We have World Cup, right? World Cup, where the German national team, okay, led by the former Manchester United star, which is Bastian Schweinsteiger, has won a World Cup. Okay, Germany has won World Cup in 2014. So how did they do that? This by utilizing the big data technology. So basically, what the German team do is basically together with SAP, this is one of the software companies. The German football team has developed an application which is known as Match Insight. Okay, where the application basically can be used to analyze a vast amount of data about the members of the German team and also their opponents. Okay, dan juga pihak lawan. Okay, so what they can do, so the data that they gain in a Mesh Insight application can be converted into simulation or simulasi and graph that can be viewed by the coach, uh, by the coach. Dalam Melayu apa coach? Jurulatih, jurulatih. Okay, to identify and also assess the key situation in each match. So this insight basically help them to improve player and also their team performance. Okay, this is another success story. Here we have ways basically also utilizing big data, and then dengue heat map, COVID-19 heat map, also utilizing big data and etc. Okay, then we move to the opportunities in big data. So what are the opportunities exist in correlation with the emergence of big data? Okay, one of the things is with the emergence of the big data, so it basically has created a new job scope, okay, a new job area, which is known as data scientist. Okay, data scientist. So based on the Harvard Business Review in 2013, so data scientist is the sexiest job of the 21st century, meaning that we have many demands in terms of the in terms of this job. And then in 2015, so Measurable in 2015 also suggests that data scientist is the hottest profession we have in IT area. So in order to become a data scientist, what we should have? So we should have knowledge in many fields, okay? Not only in IT, but also a combination of different fields. For example, here we should have a knowledge in mathematics, also should have a knowledge in statistics, and also should have a knowledge in programming language, such as scripting language like R, Python, and also we also need to know a little bit about visualization technique. And of course, since big data or data scientist is supporting the field or other fields, so we also should have a knowledge about the domain knowledge of the field. Okay, like for instance, if that particular data scientist is working with a banking sector, so then the data scientist should have a knowledge in banking sector. So from here, as you can see from here, the demand for big data expertise is very big, sangat besar. Okay, what we can say from this table is every single jobs basically require big data skills or require data scientists. So how much the data scientists get paid? So based on this figure, we can say that the median salary is more than 100,000 US dollar per annum. So meaning that per month will be around 10 to 12,000 dollar per annum per month. Okay, other than the career opportunities, big data also has opened up an opportunity for research. For example, here we have big data also has opened up in a few areas. For example, in big data analytics. So what we can do is we can estimate large data sets from various fields. Okay, because we talk about big data, it's not only focusing on IT area, but it also focuses on other areas. For example, biology, chemistry, military, social sciences, sports sciences, healthcare, farming, and etc. So we can have that kind of so we can have the data sets, and then we can do analytical studies based on the data set that we have. And then visualization, we can look into how we can visualize the huge amount of data and how we can interact with the massive amount of data sets. And then database architecture, of course, big data also, we also need to know about maybe the techniques in cloud computing, how to deal with that, or how to deal with big data in mobile, for example, and in terms of the security, protection, integrity, and also privacy. Of course, we should know about the modeling for big data protection or security, big data encryption, and etc. All right. Here are the examples of the application of big data in research or in other fields. So this is the example of the use of big data in healthcare, okay, in healthcare research. So I think all of us are aware in healthcare sector, the big data or data set is generated from different heterogeneous sources. Okay, daripada sumber yang besar, yang berbeza, yang banyak. For example, from laboratory and clinical data, patient symptoms, okay, uploaded from distant sensors, hospital operation, pharmaceuticals data, and etc. So from that, the advanced analysis of medical data set has many beneficial applications. For instance, it enables to personalize health services. For example, the doctors can monitor online patient symptoms in order to adjust prescription. And then to adapt public health plans according to population symptoms, disease evolution, and also other parameters. It's also useful to optimize hospital operation and to decrease health cost expenditure. Okay, this is an example of big data research in consumer behavior. So I can say that consumers today interact with companies through multiple interaction points. Okay, multiple interaction points from mobile to social media to online stores to an e-commerce site and many more. So this basically dramatically increase the complexity and variety of data types, okay, that we can aggregate and also analyze. So when all of this data is aggregated, okay, when all of the data is aggregated and analyzed together, so it can yield insights that we never had before. Okay, for example, who are the high value consumers? And then what motivates consumer to buy more? And then how do the consumer behave, for example? And how and when is the best to reach the consumer? So armed with this insight, with this data, we can improve customers acquisition and also drive customer loyalty. Okay, and then in retail, from a business standpoint, retailers will need to empower people across their organization, okay, to make decisions swiftly, accurately, and with confidence. So the only way to achieve this is to harness big data to make the best plans and also decisions. Understand costs, understand customers more deeply, and also to uncover hidden trends that reveal new opportunities and many more. So big data is now also being applied. You can say that the big data is now also being applied at every stage of the retail process. Okay, working out what the popular products will be by predicting trends, forecasting where the demand will be for the products, optimizing pricing for a competitive edge, identifying the customers likely to be interested in, and also working out the best way to approach the customers, and then taking their money and finally working out what to sell to the customers next. In utilities, the supplier of electricity, gas, and water, for example, uh, to European homes, for example, and businesses are finding ways to analyze the vast volume of data uh, to gain insight in customers' trend and also operational efficiencies by doing, for instance, forecasting and also modeling of the usage. And it's also reported that in the press that Bangalore water supply and sewage board, okay, Bangalore water supply and sewage board is also implementing a real-time monitoring system to detect leakages, okay, to detect illegal connection, and also remotely control valve to ensure the equitable supply of water to different areas of the city. And it also helps to reduce the need for valve operators and to timely identifying and fixing water pipes that are leaking. Okay, as in transportation and logistics, so many public transport, okay, many public road transport companies are using the sensors, which is RFID, okay, radio frequency identification, and also GPS to track buses and explore interesting data to improve their services. For instance, so data collected about the number of passengers using the buses in different routes are used to optimize bus routes and also the frequency of trips. And then the various real-time system also has been implemented, uh, not only to provide passengers with recommendation, but also to offer valuable information on when to expect the next bus will take the users to the desired destination. In political studies, so many governments, such as in big countries like in India, in United States, or maybe I'm not sure in Malaysia, maybe in Indonesia as well, maybe are mining data to monitor political trends. Okay, and they can analyze the population sentiments, or we call this sentiment analysis. There are many applications that combines many data sources. Okay, social network communication, okay, that combines social network communication, personal interviews, and also voters composition. So basically, there's such a system, okay, this kind of research, this such system basically enable also to detect local issues in addition to national issues. Right, this is the latest research, okay, how the big data can be applied in the pandemic, which is the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. So basically, when we have the pandemic, so technically or indirectly, or we can say that, or we can say that directly, we will have a huge amount of data. Okay, so the big data provides a massive amount of information to the scientists, okay, to the health workers, to the epidemiologists, and help them to make informed decision to fight with the COVID-19 virus. So this data can be used to, for example, to track the virus on a global basis, continuously, and also to create innovation in the medical fields. And it can help to forecast the impact of COVID-19 in a particular area and the whole population. So also helps in research and development of new treatment procedure and provide possible sources and also opportunities for the people, and thus help to handle the stressful situation. Right, so here we go. As a conclusion, so the big data is like a crude oil, okay, minyak yang mentah. So it's meaningless and need to be refined, okay, need to be analyzed, need to be treated before its true value can be extracted. And based on my talk, can say that big data create big opportunities to create value and also to solve big problems in many fields, okay, in many sectors, like for example in healthcare, tourism, and etc., manufacturing, and etc. So the challenge now is how to manage and utilize them, make use of them, to utilize them. And then with the emergence of the big data field, it also has created uh, a new job profession or a new profession, which is data scientist. And based on the slide, suggests that data scientist is the current hottest profession in IT right now. And of course, the big data also has created many research opportunities for all fields. So I think that's all my about my talk. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. So, before we start the question, please hold your question because we will jump to the third speaker. So, keep or write your question in the room chat. So, at 11:30, we can try to open the discussion. Thank you, Professor Sanim. Let's give applause for his interesting talk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So for the third speaker will be Professor Dr. Muhammad Soeb. So he is from Department of Chemistry, University of Dhaka, Bangladesh. I will short inform to you about the biography. So he get his bachelor in the Chemistry University of Dhaka, Bangladesh in the 1995, and then he get the master from chemistry also from University of Dhaka and University of Aberdeen in UK, and he finished his PhD in chemistry in the School of Pharmacy from UK. So time is your prof.
Thank you, moderator, for your kind introduction. I'm very happy to be here to join to the International Conference of Science and Technology toward New Normal Era, organized by University of Sri Lanka. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Professor Nanik Amina. Actually, recently we introduced by virtual seminar we organize often. And thank you, organizer, Dr. Nurina Fitriani. From yesterday and today, I am enjoying all seminars from last talks and talks before and yesterday. There are several talks, and I also enjoyed Professor Iqbal Chaudhary's lecture for the current situation. We are passing very hard time due to the pandemic, but again, we are connected each other through digital modernization, and last talk was another example of this. Today, although my title is Determination of Preservatives, Stimulants, and Sweeteners in Carbonated Beverage by HPLC, this is a very small work out of our all work, but my presentation will be to introduce ourselves and for future collaboration. So I will not con uh, only limited to this presentation, but I will overview our own work. So I visited Indonesia actually last year and year before. I have some kind of collaboration with universities Gardamada, U Jakarta, IT Bandung, University of Bardujas. Today, I will talk general introduction of our research group, some of our research facilities, and the proposed work from the title of this presentation, some other works, and I will show some of photographs from our activities. This slide shows the map of Bangladesh. You see Bangladesh is in South Asia and population is 160 million within 54,000 square miles. To the south of Bangladesh, Bay of Bengal, and India is our neighbor, and on the east and southern part, Myanmar. Bangladesh is mainly an agricultural country, so different kind of pesticides and fertilizers are being used in agricultural field. Other than agricultural fields, there are some poultry industry, so different kind of antibiotics are also being used there. So in Bangladesh, and not only in Bangladesh, this is a global concern about food safety, and the food safety concern is due to the use of pesticides, veterinary drug, growth promoting agents, environmental contaminants, and contaminants arising during food processing and food packaging materials. Due to use of these different kind of chemicals, they hamper environment. So environmental pollution is another major problem in Bangladesh as well, because these pesticides and fertilizer can easily discharge in the water body from the agricultural fields, and industrial effluent, tannery waste, fuel and surfactants can also discharge in the river, lakes and canal, and thus they can contaminate water body. Heavy metals, toxic chemicals, and ion, especially phosphate and nitrate from fertilizer, can reduce the water quality, and thus freshwater fishes and aquatic organisms are endangered. So in general, our research question is food safe to consume? What are the level of contaminations? How to improve food safety? Do farmers use proper dose of pesticides and maintain pre-harvest interval? What is the level of environmental pollution in Bangladesh? How to reduce pollution? We are working to increase food safety in Bangladesh for last couple of years from our research work at the university, and we correlate or cooperate with different organization of the government, different ministry. We try to produce skilled manpower by teaching students and some other professionals who work different organization by giving them training. We try to increase our laboratory facility to work on food safety. This slide is about our university. Our university is 100 years old. Next year, we are going to celebrate 100-year celebration. Today, we have 84 departments under 13 faculty, and we are from Faculty of Science, Chemistry Department, and we have more than 46,000 students. In each year, as fresh intake, 65,000 students can enroll in the university in different departments. This slide is about our department. This department is in the campus called Cardion Hall. This is very nice area, and it was also 100 years old building. And our research group is called Ben04 Research Group to work on food and environmental chemistry within Department of Chemistry, University of Dhaka. And our research group is mainly funded by International Science Program, Uppsala University, Uppsala. Other than Uppsala funding, we also getting support from different ministry of Bangladesh and other organizations like IFS to us. We have very skilled faculty members, and you see 4 of their pictures, and we have many postdoc, PhD, MPhil students, and 5 of them competed yesterday for 5 minutes thesis presentation, and 3 of them have been qualified for next round. We have many MS students in our research group, fourth year undergraduate graduate students. Our another strategy is to keep balance male and female students to improve gender equality in the university as well in the country. This slide is about our laboratory. You see, we have very clean laboratory and students can work. Instrumental facility, we have LC-MSMS, HPLC, GC, FID, and GC ECD to work with different kind of samples in food and environmental samples. FTIR, mechanical sheep, rotary vacuum evaporator, oven, and space for students, mature or senior students for literature searching and writing up their dissertation. For our analytical work, our strategy, this slide is just a general strategy to collect sample, extract these samples and clean up, then analysis by instrument. So depending on the nature of compound or analyte, we use instrument like GC or GCH MS, HPLC or LCMS, or AS, especially for heavy metals, we have to use AS. Sometimes we use UV visible FTIR and NMR, especially for natural products chemistry work. We have to develop method and validate, and always we keep quality control and quality assurance for method development. And for that, general steps is to determine limit of detection, limit of quantification, recovery, and construct calibration curve. Again, as we are also working with pesticides, we have to develop from the literature MRL value for all pesticides, and this is just a simple definition from European Union about MRL. It is the highest level of pesticide residue that is legally tolerated in or on food or feed when pesticides are applied correctly. So there are many organization or body for MRL fixing like European Commission, Codex Alimentarius Commission, Canadian Commission, and Bangladesh Food Safety Authority. So we are working with Bangladesh Food Safety Authority. This is newly established last 4 years back, and BFASA is trying to develop ordinance or regulation to control or to improve food safety in Bangladesh. Now, next couple of slides, I will discuss about present work, and this is on preservative stimulants, sweeteners in carbonated beverages. As we know, carbonated beverages contain many types of artificial ingredients such as preservatives, stimulating and sweetening agents, and carbonated beverages have been very popular nowadays, especially for small teenage people and children as well. So these in additional additives are used for various purposes, generally sodium benzoate or sodium potassium benzoate are used as preservative. Caffeine is used as stimulating agent. Saccharin, acesulfame K, aspartame are used as artificial sweetening agents, and you see all structures of these additives. However, when excess amount of these artificial agents are used in carbonated beverages, consumers suffer from a lot of diseases such as carcinogenicity, irritation of the skin, restlessness, headache, Sometimes they become obese. So obesity is another problem due to the excessive intake of these artificial agents, and this can generate diabetics. So due to the health concern, this small work is very important for us. In this presentation, I will discuss the analysis of artificial all these three different additives and quantify determination in popular carbonated beverages which are commercially available in Bangladesh. Again, the purpose of this project is to assess food safety status of carbonated beverages in Bangladesh. We collected 21 carbonated beverages of different batches from different manufacturer from Dhaka. Other than these carbonated beverages, we have similar studies for fruit juice as well. But here I am discussing only carbonated beverages with 21 samples. So all these samples were analyzed by HPLC PDA, and we use two different methods. These methods have been followed from reported method, but we validated in our own laboratory. And you see method one, mobile phase is acetic acid, isopropyl alcohol, water with this ratio. And we use 254 nanometer for detection of saccharin, caffeine, sodium benzoate, and in different carbonated beverages. However, for detection of acesulfame K and aspartame are the two sweeteners. We use method 2, and mobile phase was potassium phosphate monobasic acetonitrile, again PDA detector, and we use wavelength for acesulfame 226 and aspartame 196. Here I can discuss that actually the wavelength for method 2 is little bit lower, but again it worked very well. Usually we don't use lower wavelength for determination of organic compound. And again, for all these types of sugar, HPLC refractive index is better than HPLC PDA. However, we have HPLC PDA system at this moment, so we use these systems for our present work, and it worked very well. So we prepared different standard solution of saccharin, caffeine, and sodium benzoate for method 1, and you see the range is from 100 to 500 microgram per liter for saccharin, and range for caffeine and sodium benzoate. And standard of these three, saccharin, caffeine, and sodium benzoate, is injected in HPLC system in method 1, and we got well resolved peak saccharin, caffeine, and benzoic acids at the bottom. The similar but with higher concentration, 500, 250, and 500. And this slide is about calibration curve, and we got very good calibration curve, R square 0.99. And this slide is the results of carbonated beverages, RC Cola, Power, which are locally available and local name. And we see that saccharin, caffeine, and sodium benzoate, some are available with some value. This slide is about the recovery. We use spiking level, 3 different level to know the recovery concentration, and we see that the recovery is quite good, 94 to 97% with very good RSD. And for these 3 additives here, results amount of saccharin in different brands of carbonated beverage. So out of 21 samples, 5 samples contain saccharin, and this is 24% in general. And the range was from trace level to 378 milligram per liter. And maximum amount is reported for a maximum amount was found in Coca-Cola 378. For caffeine, out of 21, 11 samples contain caffeine, and that was 52%, and the range was again from trace level to 462 milligram per liter, and highest amount caffeine was found in Coca-Cola, 462 milligram, and this is little bit higher from our country's standards and international standards. Here you see maximum limit of caffeine in soft drinks is 200 milligram per liter set by US Food and Drug Administration. So it is little bit concern for us. For sodium benzoate as a preservative, sodium benzoate is used, and out of 21 sample, 17 samples contain sodium benzoate, and it was around 81%, and range again from trace or below detection limit to 218 milligram per liter, and maximum amount was found in a brand called Tiger, and the highest level can be 300 milligram per liter, and in our country's standard it is also 250 milligram per liter. So the range or level is lower than the standard value, so this is good for us. Now I will show results of acesulfame K and aspartame and other sweeteners, two sweeteners, and we use again 6 different concentration from 0, 1 to 20 milligram per liter for making or preparation of standard calibration curve of acesulfame K and aspartame by method 2. You see HPLC chromatogram of acesulfame K and aspartame and standard calibration curve. Again, these curves show very good R squared 0.999 and 0.996 recovery experiment, and recovery experiment was also quite good. Again, we used 3 spiking level for each of sweetener, and recovery was 91 to 94%. This slide shows results or chromatograms from samples, Sprite, Fizz Up, this is locally known, 7 Up, and Clemon. For acesulfame K sweetener, 4 samples was found to contain out of 21, and it was 19% frequency. The range of acesulfame K was found from trace level to 48 milligram per liter, and maximum level was found in Clemon. Again, the maximum tolerable limit is 600 milligram per liter, so it is lower than the maximum level, and this is also quite good for us. Now, my last discussion for this work is aspartame in different samples. You see chromatograph of Jirapani, Orange, Tiger, and Speed. All these are locally made beverages, and acesulfames are available in all these beverages. So the results of this is acesulfame aspartame was found in 13 samples out of 21 analyzed samples, and it was 62% and range from BDL to 295 milligram per liter, and highest amount was found in locally made beverage Euro, orange 295, and the maximum tolerable limit of aspartame is 750 milligrams set by Codex Alimentarius Commission. So these values are also within the or lower than the maximum tolerable limit. So this is also acceptable for us. This slide is the maximum tolerable limits for Bangladesh. We use or we prepare from our experimental work. So this is for sodium benzoate 250 milligram, caffeine 145, saccharin 300 milligram, acesulfame K 300 milligram, aspartame 700 milligram. And for this work, this is the conclusion. 4 samples like Tiger, Jirapani, Coca Cola Zero, and Diet Coke contain saccharin more than the permitted level. 3 samples contain caffeine more than the permitted level. However, no samples contain sodium benzoate, acesulfame K, and aspartame than the permitted level. Now, I would like to share some of our other work, and this is other than the proposed title of this work, but as this is my first opportunity to give presentation, and this might be the starting for a new collaboration with your university and with Professor Nanik Amina. I feel that I can share some of our other work, just a brief. So we are also working analysis of tetracycline, oxytetracycline, chlorotetracycline, and chloramphenicol residue in chicken meat and beef sample. And one of our PhD student, Rafiza Islam, is presenting, and she also nominated for next round, and she will also present about 30 samples. This is just couple of slides. So we use this slide shows uh, MS data of tetracycline, oxytetracycline, and we are using MRM method for identification and quantification of this antibiotic in chicken meat. And you see this is chromatogram, and this is MRM of product ion. So she will describe more about her work. Other than this, we're also working with antibiotic residue in pesticide milk by LCMS MS. You see different kind of antibiotic like ciprofloxacin, levofloxacin, endofloxacin, tetracycline, oxytetracycline, chlorotetracyclines. And as I described for our sweeteners, we follow the similar analytical method to work with these samples. We are also working with analysis of aflatoxin. As we know, aflatoxin can be produced by Aspergillus flavus, Aspergillus parasiticus, and Nomias due to our environment, tropical environment, and we are also working with this in maize, wheat, and rice sample. And another our work is quantitative determination of Sudan rate, Sudan 1, Sudan 2, Sudan 3, Sudan 4. All these are banned, but some illegal businessmen and other people, sometimes they use this Sudan rate to improve color in their food, especially chilies. So we are also working in these projects. We have some work with investigation of microplastic in fish samples, and for this work we are trying to develop our laboratory facility by FTIR and digital microscope. You see these two small equipments are available in our country, and some of in our laboratory, and some of our students are working with fish sample. And this slide, you see two fish, tilapia. This is well known in these regions, and short putty. And one of postdoc from Tanzania, she worked for 2 months, and she developed a method for analysis of microplastic in these fish samples. And out of these two fish species, we found that short putty contain suspected polyethylene, styrofoam, and rubber in short putty fish sample. Some of our students, master's students, as you saw picture, they worked 20 fish samples from marine fish and freshwater fish samples, and they also try to develop analysis of microplastic in fish sample. This slide is digestion, and they also found the presence of microplastics in some fish species. I'm not going to share details work due to the shortage of time. We have some uh, other small projects, and you see 18 and 19, other than food and environmental samples, we are also working in natural products chemistry, and we have long collaboration with Professor Iqbal Chaudhuri, as he also mentioned yesterday, and some of our students also giving presentation from natural products work. Now I will show some of our outreach from our research work, as Bangladesh is agricultural country and we want to improve the knowledge of our farmers. We visit rural area, we discuss with farmers, and this slide you see there is a small workshop with farmers and some of local administrator, like local agricultural officers, and we discuss with different farmers, and we advocate them not to use pesticides or keep pesticide in their home. So for food safety and health hazards, we try to develop knowledge for them. The same again, this slide you see discussion with them. And at the bottom right side, we are collecting blood samples from farmers to see the biochemical parameter, or to monitor their health conditions after using farmers. So this is another small project to develop themselves. Now, last couple of slides, I would like to share some of our activities from our students. As in this conference, I noticed there are many students, and 5 of them from our research group are joining. So I can share some of activities from students. We encourage students to participate in conference and workshop. This conference was in Dhaka in February. Many international scientists visited, and last week Professor Marcel Jaspers, actually 2 weeks back, gave a digital presentation, and Professor Nanik Amina also joined. Actually, from that day, I heard about today's program. So in that conference, one MSc students got Best Poster Award. You see, Tahmina, MSc student, she received her Poster Award. And another PhD student, Rafiza, received PhD fellowship from the Honorable Minister, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Another student is getting certificate from Honorable Dean, Faculty of Science, University of Dhaka. Some other students joined another international conference in Dhaka, several conferences in Dhaka. One, Rafiza Islam, and another female faculty member joined workshop in Bangkok, and this is to improve themselves for international exposure. PhD students and IMPhil students also joined training program in Laos and Cambodia. You see, last 4 years. We also arrange a seminar or a fair under environmental Department Environmental Ministry, and we joined there. This is also another outrage from our research group to improve environment, to remove environmental pollution in the country. And as a follow-up, we collected plastic materials or garbage from one place just close to the river, and some of our students joined for this program. And this is another event called Plastic Free Week and plogging. Plogging means jogging and collection of garbage. And this was within our university campus. An honorable ambassador from Embassy of Sweden joined, and you see our honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Dhaka. He inaugurated this event. Now, due to the basic pandemic situation, as our universities are closed and most of the students were at home, so to motivate students and to connect each other, we arrange uh, virtual seminar. And actually, again, the same information from this seminar, I know Professor Nanik Amina, and this is a very good opportunity. And from last couple of um, actually months, many professors from Bangladesh and overseas professor gave lecture. You see, this was started by lecture by Professor Ataur Rahman, eminent scientist in the world, and also Professor Iqbal Chaudhary joined in his lecture. Then other professors gave lecture, and one of our event to improve gender equality, and it was the role of women during the COVID-19 pandemic. And you see 6 female professors gave lecture on role of women during pandemic 19. I would like to acknowledge my co-worker, Professor Nilofar Nahar, Department of Chemistry, University of Dhaka. She is retired now, and you saw her picture when I showed group picture. PhD student Shahid Raja, MSc student Mafizul. The main part of today's proposed lecture, Mafizul Islam work. As I mentioned, we are getting funding from International Science Program. We also got support from Higher Education Quality Enhancement Projects, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of Bangladesh. We also work with Swedish embassy sometimes, and Honorable Ambassador visited our laboratory and joined another seminar organized in 2018. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation and interesting topic, Professor Muhammad Soeb. So now we open for the discussion, and I check in the room chat. There is a question from the Nang Miasin. She asks, how can we participate as a volunteer if we would to do as volunteer there? Maybe Prof. Soeb, you can answer for this
Yes, actually,
question.
I also saw this message, but I'm not clear how about volunteer. You are all, anybody is most welcome to work, either participants or students, like what fellow or volunteer. So what does volunteer mean? I am not clear. If anybody wants to work in lab, most welcome. If wants to come and advocate other people to improve some information like food safety, environmental safe pollution, to remove environmental pollution, to or improve farmers knowledge, most welcome. And they can contact with me by email, or if he or she is in Indonesia, she can contact with Professor Nanik Amina, because we are communicating each other every day nearly.
Yeah, I think like that. So you can contact by email and then send your CV. So Prof. Sueb will read your CV and you can continue about the collaboration. So
Can
like,
I say 1 minute about this?
oh yes, no problem.
Yes, actually, it is not very far from Indonesia to Bangladesh. If any students wants to, as I mentioned, we are also working on natural products chemistry, environmental chemistry, and analytical chemistry, and of course, food safety. So, if any student wants to come, most welcome, and we can arrange some local support for them, 2 months, 3 months. Of course, their respective supervisor or teacher will allow or give permission, but we can give local facility.
Thank you. So I think Prof. Nani will ask a question, please.
Thank you, Dr. Esa. Uh, thank you very much for Professor Sueb for your coming here, even by online. Hopefully, we will have a good collaboration between our Department of Chemistry with your Department of Chemistry in the near future after the pandemic. Hopefully, we will send our student, and you can send also your student to our university. We will be very appreciate for your student will come to our university. Thank you very much for Professor Sueb for today, yesterday, and maybe next collaboration. Thank you, Dr. Esa.
Yes, we have planned, of course, when the situation is, we overcome the situation, we can send students to your university. And for sending students, we'll arrange all expenses by ourselves. So we have this kind of budget at this moment. So inshallah, some of our students will visit, if and then before that we'll make a collaboration, or the program will arrange a program. Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
I will read third question. Sorry. So there is from Mr. Fernandus Hartono from Unimel. So he asks, will you conduct a further animal or human model for the microplastic pollution and contamination? Since animal model can illustrate the impact of microplastic to human body.
Yes, I also saw this message, and I was going to write, but good you pointed out. Yes, we have planned. Actually, we have a project, plastic pollution and impact on human health. We are developing these things, the impact of microplastics in human health. But as you know, to work with this, we have to take permission from ethical review committee. So this is under review. So once we get the permission, we'll start our work, but this is our planning to do.
Thank you for your answer. So I checked that there are many students from information system and chemistry. So you can ask if you have confused in your mind about the big data or this chemistry topic. So please directly you can ask to the speaker or you can write. So for the big data, I have a question. Although I'm not from the big data field, you mentioned before that nowadays many people use social media. So I think that we give our data, many data for many people. So it's easy for crime. So how big data protect this condition? So I asked to Prof. Shukor Sanin.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Yep. When we talk about big data, one of the things that we should always take care of is in terms of the security or privacy. Talking about social media, I think the first thing that we ourselves need to do is we should first try to make sure not all the things that we expose in social media uh, uh, dipublikkan, is made publicly available. Okay, so I think, like for example, in Facebook, there is a setting that we can use, that we can set. There's a privacy setting that we can set in order to make sure not everything can be posted publicly. Okay, that is the first thing lah, that we need to do. Okay, you need to take care of the privacy settings in a social media. Okay, similar to Instagram. Okay, similar to Instagram, similar to Twitter. Please make sure all the privacy settings are set privately.
Okay, thank you. So now there is some question from Nang Mayasin again. She asks, at the moment you was mentioned about the fellowship. So how we can apply that? I think Prof. Muhammad Sueb.
Uh, yes. Can, can you repeat the question, please, about fellowship?
Okay, so she asks how we can apply the fellowship like that.
Well, actually, at this moment, we don't have any prescribed or official fellowship program, but there are many programs from international bodies. So we can look for it from, of course, Comstech and IFS, TWAS, or TUAS from Italy. But we have a projects from our own, and from that projects we can give support, local support. That's if anybody is interested and write us through their supervisor, so we can plan or we can discuss. But for travel grant at this moment we can't promise, to be honest. So we have to look for this in different organization, and we can help. So this is not 1 or 2 days straightforward decision. We have to work together, and this is October, November, December, next 2 months. To be honest, we can't travel or we can't take any decision, but we can work about this. So again, from our own projects or ongoing projects, we can give support locally, but for international travel, we need to look for some funding, and we need to look for fellowship program as well.
Thank you for your answer. Any question or something want to discussion? Because
I
after,
have a
okay.
I have a question to Professor Shukur Sanik.
Yes,
Actually,
please.
I did. I will have two questions. First, just general, and I also asked Professor Iqbal Chaudhary about this. This is a general thing. As you know, yesterday we were here for a long time, and yesterday and day before yesterday, I had many Zoom meeting for university and some other works. So what do you think? This will, of course, impact on our health, our brain, our eye. We don't have any alternative at this moment, as Professor Iqbal Chaudhary also mentioned. But again, what do you think? And the second related to this, we are adult, we are uh, but young children for class 2, class 3, they are also using a laptop for their online class, say 4 or 6 hours. So do you think this will have bad impact on health? Please unmute. Please unmute.
Prof. Shukor, please unmute. Still mute. Maybe your speaker.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof. Shuaib. Yeah. Thank you, Prof. Shuaib. All right. About the health issues, I think, yes, everybody in this world nowadays, whether we are in Indonesia, in Malaysia, or in Bangladesh, or in UK, most of us will need to get through or get used to online mechanism. Conference need to be done online. Class also need to be done using ODL basis or online basis and etc. So of course, in terms of the health issues, uh, in terms of the health issues, when we use the computers or other tablets or other devices, of course, that will basically affect the health issues. So what we need to do, I think, based on my personal opinion, so we should basically need to plan. Basically, for example, if you need to have, if the student need to go through or need to attend the online class, so what they need to do is they need to plan their online class schedule. Student cannot sit in front of the monitor or in front of their laptop for the duration of 6 hours. Of course, that will affect their health issues. That will affect the eyes, okay, because there is a radiation from the laptop and etc. etc. So what the practice that we do in UITM, in New City Technology Mara, is we try to reduce the time for online class. For example, if we have on the paper, on the timetable, the student need to attend for 2 hours for physical class. So what we ask the lecturers to do is they need to make it short. For every 1 hour's class, they need to do at least at par or at maximum 15 minutes for every 1 hour physical class. So that means if they need to conduct uh, 2 hours class physically, so that means in online class at minimum, or sorry, not at minimum, at maximum, they need to conduct just 30 minutes online class. So there is the things that we need to control. There's the things that we can do lah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for the answer. So there is one question for Dr. Shukor from Nur Amelina Adni. She asks about, it is a demand that one of the biggest challenge of big data is the shortage of skilled people in handling and analyzing big data. In your opinion, how should we approach or overcome this challenge?
Right, thank you. Miss Amelina from Malaysia, I think, because he is my student. Good question, Amelina. So, Amelina, I think the first thing that we need to do is we need first to make an amendment to our curriculum, to IT curriculum itself. So we need to add a few elements that is related to big data. Like nowadays, for UITM curriculum, for IT student, we have what we call big data basket. So there is one of the things that we can do in a higher education sector. And then in addition, in order to handle overcome this challenge, yeah, uh, of course, there is nowadays we have many online classes that offer professional certification for big data, for handling big data. For example, in R scripting, in Python, in Hadoop, and etc. So we need to go through and make use all the online classes. Need to attend all the online classes in order to prepare ourselves to face the challenges. Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much for the answer. So, Prof. Sued, maybe I have a question. So, I'm
Yes.
interested with your research. So, because many people likes to drink soft drink, like you measure. I'm not from chemistry, but maybe from your research, you can suggest to me how I can consume this drink and can protect my health or protect from disease. Thank you.
Well, yes, this is a very nice question. Uh, of course, this kind of drinks, it is nowadays recommended that to use Lays. This is the best option. We can reduce drinking this kind of beverages because the main concern is to be obese. If obesity increase, then diabetics you can be diabetic patient and other kind of non-communicable diseases can be occurred in your health. So you have to control yourself taking these soft drinks because often we have to use. For example, if you become tired or if you work for long time, you feel that you can take extra drinks. So we can avoid by simple water, by taking plain water.
I see. Thank you so much for the answer. Is there any question before we go to the next session? Anyone want to ask or maybe comment? Is it enough? Is it enough? Okay. So if it is enough, we go to the photo session before we close our talk today. So please turn on your camera so the committee will capture all of the picture of us. Okay, please turn on. Ready? Please smile. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Smile. Thank you so much. So I hope everybody enjoy about our morning session. Please take a rest after this and then come back to join because we will have a poster session. We hope that the pandemic will be finished and then we can meet directly so we can talk more friendly so we will know each other. We hope that we can meet in the second conference for next year. We don't know, maybe in Dhaka or in Malaysia. I don't know. So please enjoy and thank you for the speaker and thank you for the participant. Let's give applause for us. Thank you. See
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yunata. What an excellent presentation from our guest speakers. For now, I would like to announce the finalists for poster and 5MT competition. For the 5MT competition, I would like to congratulate Muhammad Nazrul Islam with the title of Biological Activity Studies of the Aerial Parts of Philatus niruri, and Hana Amira binti Muhammad Hassan with the title of Small Choices, Big Changes, an interactive video of anxiety disorder awareness. Next. Nur Adina Shahira binti Muhammad Yuswadi with the title of Bukia Automated Digital Library System. and Ufaira Nisa Islamatasha with the title of Mechanism of Antioxidant from Chinura procumbens adventitious route in vitro culture against lead-induced organ damage. Next, I would like to congratulate Salsabila Putri Pratama with the title of Optimizing WhatsApp Business in Fostering Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises in Your Normal Era, and Jordan Octavio Marcelino with the title of Phytoremediation Using Water Hyacinth, a Hornia crassipes, to reduce fat and oil levels in the treatment of wastewater from the Delos Culinary Center, Surabaya. Next, I would like to congratulate Zayan Zafira Zalnurin with the title of IoT-based Smart Medicine Box with Notification Reminder, and Hazim bin Shaiful Bahari with the title of Network Rerouting Simulator for Sustainable Networks. For the next, I would like to congratulate Surenta with the title of An Affordable and Effective Automatic Irrigation System, and Nur Shahidatul Shaurah binti Sharifunizam with the title of Cut Road Smart Vehicle Detection with Alerting System IoT. Okay, for the next, I would like to congratulate all the participants in poster competition. First, I would like to congratulate Nur Humaira Muhammad Yusuf with the title of Harumanis Mango Leaf Disease Detection System using Image Processing Technique, and Nick Ahmad Faris bin Nick Effendi with the title of Above Ground Biomass, or AGB, and Species Recognition using Hyperspectral Sensor, and later in Tropical Forests. Next, I would like to congratulate Syed Zulkarnain Syetitrus with the title of The Development of an Animation Regarding Depression Awareness Among University Students, and Nur Amilina Arni Binti Faisal Azmi with the title of IoT-based Smart Energy Saving Street Lights. For the next, I would like to congratulate Mastura Binti Murshid with the title of Web-Based Innovation Competition Judging System, and Dr. Wan Azani Wan Mustafa with the title of A Monitoring System for Cervical Cancer Classification Based on Nucleus Analysis. For the next, I would like to congratulate Ima Dewahyu Wijaya with the title of Discarded Flower Waste Recycling into Organic Incense as an Environmental Preservation Initiative in Bali Island. And Izyan Najwa binti Muhammad Nursyam with the title of Synthesis, Characterization, and Application of Polyaniline Coil Eggshells in Ammonia Detection. For the next, I would like to congratulate Araya Yenova Putri with the title of Simplify as Website-Based Text Mining for Building Company Brand, and Christiana Natalia Korputi with the title of From Book, An Application to Preserve Indonesian Culture. So that's all for the finalists for poster and 5MT competition. For all of those names, after this you shall present your poster or thesis. We will divide the room into 2 Zoom meeting. The link of Zoom meeting will be informed through chat feature and WhatsApp group. And for the now, we'll have a break and the presentation will begin at 1 p.m. Western Indonesian time. So please note to join the room meeting before 1 p.m. Western Indonesian time. So please enjoy your break.